Hare Krishna everyone, we're continuing to read The Science of Self-Realization, the book by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 8, Attaining Perfection, and this section is entitled The Highest Love. Continuing. Unalloyed love must be free of all tinges of fruitive activities, karma, and all tinges of mental speculation and material desire. That unalloyed devotional service should be favorably fixed on Krishna. Favorably means in accordance with what he desires. Krishna desired that the battle of Kurukshetra take place. It was all arranged by him. Arjuna was told, "You are thinking in your own way, but even if you do not fight, rest assured that because it has been arranged by me, none of these warriors who are assembled here are going back to their homes. They will be killed here. It has already been arranged." God's desire is such that one cannot change it. Krishna has two qualities. He can protect, and he can also kill. If he wants to kill someone, there is no power in the world that can protect him. And if he protects someone, there is no power in the world that can kill him. Krishna's desire is supreme. Therefore, we have to dovetail our desires with Krishna's. Whatever Krishna desires, no one can make null and void, because he is the Supreme Lord. Therefore, our duty is to dovetail our acts with Krishna's desire, not to manufacture an action and then declare, "I am doing this action in Krishna consciousness." We have to be very careful to ascertain whether Krishna actually wants it. Such authorized knowledge is instructed by the representative of Krishna. In our prayers of praise to the spiritual master, we are singing daily, quote, "If the spiritual master is satisfied, then God is satisfied. And if one dissatisfies his spiritual master, then there is no way for him to please God." Unquote. Therefore, as far as possible, one has to execute the order of one's spiritual master. That will enable one to progress. That is the essence of the favorable execution of Krishna consciousness. In my old age, I have come to America, and I am trying to teach Krishna consciousness because my spiritual master gave me an order that I must do it. It is my duty. I do not know whether I shall be a success or failure. It doesn't matter. My duty is completed if I can present before you whatever I have heard from my spiritual master. This is called the favorable execution of Krishna consciousness. Those who are actually serious should take the order of Krishna through the representative of Krishna as their entire life and soul. One who sticks to this principle is sure to progress. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke in that way, and my spiritual master used to say, quote, "The spiritual master is the transparent VIA medium." Unquote. For example, I can see the letters of this book very nicely through these transparent eyeglasses, without which I cannot see because my eyes are defective. Similarly, our senses are all defective. We cannot see God with these eyes. We cannot hear Hare Krishna with these ears. We cannot do anything without the via medium of the spiritual master. Just as a defective eye cannot see without the via medium of spectacles, so one cannot approach the Supreme Lord without the transparent via medium of the spiritual master. Transparent means that the via medium must be free of contamination. If it is transparent, one can see through it. In unalloyed love of Godhead, we have to engage our senses. Sarvendriya, all the senses. This means that sex is also to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. The conception of God as a father or mother does not allow the engagement of one's sex in the service of the Lord, because there is no sexual relationship with the father and mother. But in the conception of God as a lover, there is sexual engagement also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, therefore, gave the most perfect information of our engagement with the Supreme Lord. In other religious conceptions of life, God is at the utmost taken as the father or mother. Many worshippers in India take goddess Kali to be the representation of God. Of course, that is not sanctioned, but the belief is there, and also in the Christian religion the conception of God is as a father. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informs us that one can even have sexual engagement with the Lord. This information is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's unique contribution. In this material world, sexual engagement is considered to be the highest engagement, the greatest pleasure, although it exists only in a perverted form. No one, however, has conceived that there can be sexual engagement in the spiritual world. There is not a single instance of such theology anywhere in the entire world. This information is given for the first time by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One can have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one's husband, as one's lover. This is possible in the worship of Radha and Krishna. But no one, especially the impersonalists, can understand Radha Krishna. The impersonalists have no idea. They cannot even conceive that God has a form. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that not only does God have form, but he has sex life also. This is the highest contribution of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One can serve the Supreme Lord in various relationships, but in the material world, those relationships exist only as perverted reflections. What is our engagement in relationship to this material world? What are our ideas of society, friendship, and love? They are all based on the material conception of life. In our society, someone is engaged as a father or mother to a son, and others are engaged as husband and wife, lover and beloved, There are other rasas, relationships also, such as to be engaged with another as an enemy. There are 12 different relationships, out of which 5 are predominant. The other 7 are indirect relationships, such as, for example, to be someone's enemy. There is actually a relationship between enemies, even between a murderer and the one he murders. As far as our relationship with Krishna is concerned, however, even if one establishes a relationship as his enemy, then his life is successful. Therefore, when one engages his senses with Krishna, a relationship can be established in one of the 12 different varieties, of which 5 varieties are direct and 7 are indirect. When Krishna appeared in the arena of Kamsa, there were many big wrestlers prepared to kill him. In fact, he was invited there to be killed. His enemy Kamsa thought, "Soon the boys will come. We have tried for 16 years to kill them, but that boy, Krishna, could not be killed. But now I have invited him as a guest, and when he arrives, he will fight with these wrestlers, and they will kill him." The demoniac or atheistic people are always thinking of Krishna or God in terms of killing him. Therefore, they present their theories that God is dead. They think that if God becomes dead, then they will be free to act however they please. But as far as their actual activities are concerned, God may be dead or alive, but God's agent, the material energy, is so strong that no one can freely do any wrong. As soon as anyone does something wrong, there is immediate punishment. It does not require the presence of God. God may be dead or alive, but the material energy is sufficient to punish anyone who violates the material laws, even to the slightest degree. God has set these conditions, but foolish people do not understand. Lord Chaitanya, however, speaks of favorably engaging all the senses in the service of Krishna in pure devotional service. One should favorably engage one's senses and should do whatever Krishna wants. Yet, even if one engages one's senses against the will of Krishna, but still thinks of Krishna, that is also advantageous. The demon Putana, for example, thought of killing Krishna. Just as the occupation of godly persons is to serve God, so the demons and atheists are always prepared to kill God. Putana thought, "I shall kill Krishna. He is only a child." This is another mistake of the demoniac. They think Krishna or God to be an ordinary child or man. So in this way, Putana was thinking, "Let me smear my breast with poison, and when the child goes to suck my milk, he will die." As we study this, we see that she approached Krishna as his enemy, and yet he accepted her as a friend because he is so merciful. He did not take the demoniac portion of her mentality, but he accepted her. Every living entity is conditioned, but Krishna is not. A doctor or psychiatrist, what is wrong with my pronunciation today? A doctor or psychiatrist treats madman, but he does not become mad. Sometimes a patient may become angry with him or call him ill names, but the doctor is sober and simply treats him. Similarly, if someone regards Krishna as his enemy, Krishna does not become his enemy. Putana came to poison Krishna, but he took it otherwise. He thought, I have sucked her breast milk, therefore she has become my mother. Krishna treated her as his mother, and therefore she became liberated to the same position as Krishna's real mother, Yashoda. The conclusion is that the highest perfection is to establish a favorable relationship with Krishna. But even if one engages himself unfavorably, Krishna is so merciful that he at least gives one salvation. All the enemies killed by Krishna were immediately liberated. Yeah, we're going to stop here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall continue to explore the topic of the highest love tomorrow. Hare Krishna.